Alright, kicking off with the ZTE saga. Supply chain security, classic textbook case, but wow, what a real-world punch. No, totally. Remember when this hit? Everyone was buzzing. It wasn't just about one company, it was like a wake-up call for everyone relying on foreign tech. Exactly. The core issue was the dependency. You know, all those fancy phones and gear ZTE made? A chunk of their brains, the chips, the software, came from the US. Suddenly, poof. No more parts. Talk about a chokehold. No. And it wasn't just about finding new suppliers overnight. It was about trust, timing, and the sheer cost. That 7-year ban? Brutal. It really hammered home the point. If your critical components are held hostage by someone else, you're in deep trouble. Nan, yep, the lesson was loud and clear. 自主可控, self-reliance and control. Easier said than done, especially when you're competing with giants who've been building these ecosystems for decades. No, right? And the fines afterwards, though they lifted the ban, still felt like a heavy price tag. It's a stark reminder that geopolitical tensions can have very direct, tangible impacts on business operations.
Okay, shifting gears to the blockchain world. EOS vulnerabilities. Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Remote code execution on a blockchain node? That's terrifying. Nan, totally epic fail as they called it. Imagine the hype around EOS back then, the next big thing, designed for enterprise apps. Then, bam. 360 finds these holes. Basically, you could send a nasty smart contract, and nodes processing it would get infected, spreading the infection like wildfire. Total network takeover potential. New. Whoa, okay. So, the decentralized nature, which is supposed to be its strength, becomes a weakness if the nodes themselves aren't secure. That's a bit of a paradox. Nan, exactly. It showed that blockchain isn't magic. It's code, and code has bugs, especially when you're trying to scale things up for real-world use. The financial stakes are huge, so these kinds of vulnerabilities aren't just theoretical anymore, they're potentially catastrophic. New makes you wonder how much scrutiny goes into auditing these complex systems before they go live. One line of code change might fix it, but the damage potential was massive.
Next up, Binance. This wasn't a traditional hack where they stole coins directly. It was more like a sophisticated market manipulation play disguised as a theft. No, right, the API key phishing angle. People clicking on fake links, handing over their keys, and boom, their accounts were wide open, but the execution was clever. They didn't just dump the coins. Nan? Nope. They used the compromised accounts to pump up the price of a specific token, VIA, on Binance. Caused chaos, triggered panic selling everywhere. Then, they cashed out their profits from short positions on other exchanges. It was a coordinated attack, not just random theft. No. So, the panic selling was actually part of the plan? That's dark. It shows how interconnected the crypto markets are. One glitch, one manipulated price, and the whole system can react violently. Nan, precisely. And Binance blaming it solely on user error feels a bit like deflecting. While phishing is definitely a huge risk, the scale and coordination suggest there might be more to the story. It's a reminder that even major platforms aren't immune to sophisticated attacks targeting user credentials.
Moving on to Akfun. Another classic data breach. 10 million users affected. IDs, nicknames, passwords. Standard stuff, but always hits hard. Nan. Yeah, the usual suspects. User IDs, nicknames, encrypted passwords. The kicker here was the encryption strength depending on login date. If you hadn't logged in since mid-2017, your password was less secure. Classic lazy security practice. New. Oh, the horror of weak passwords.
And the fact that they explicitly mentioned password reuse risk. It's like waving a red flag at attackers. Hey, come get my Netflix password too. Exactly. It's not just about the data itself, it's about what attackers can do with it. Social engineering, credential stuffing, selling the data on the dark web, the possibilities are endless. And knowing your interests? That's gold for targeted phishing or scams. Nu, it's a constant battle. Platforms collect tons of data, but securing it properly is an ongoing challenge. This incident just reinforces the need for better password management and maybe multi-factor authentication everywhere. And the grand finale, Cambridge Analytica. This one's a beast. Not a direct hack, but arguably more impactful in the long run. 50 million Facebook users' data harvested. Nu, right. The quiz app thing. Alexander Kogan's research tool, collecting data from users and their friends. It wasn't a breach in the traditional sense, but it was a massive misuse of platform data. Nan, exactly. Facebook's API allowed this kind of data scraping, and they didn't adequately police it. They built a model to predict voter behavior, target ads, push disinformation. The goal was clear: influence elections. Nu, the ethical implications are staggering. It's not just about privacy, it's about democracy. Using personal data to manipulate people's choices? That's chilling. And the connections to Ban and Mercer. It shows how deeply this was embedded in political strategies. Nand Dedong's point here is crucial. The platform itself wasn't breached, but it was weaponized. It highlights a blind spot in our security thinking. We focus on preventing attacks, but we need to consider how platforms can be misused, even unintentionally, to cause harm. It's a different kind of vulnerability.
So, wrapping up 2018 home, quite a mixed bag. From geopolitical supply chain drama, to blockchain nightmares, crypto market chaos, and data misuse on a massive scale. Nan, definitely a roller coaster, shows how interconnected everything is. Tech, finance, politics, privacy, it all gets tangled up, and the threats keep evolving. Always gotta stay sharp.